Today I'm going to do something a little different. This is actually from work, where I going to take this box that currently has some poker chips in our collection in it, and I'm going to redo the inside housing for these poker chips, give them a little bit of a different storage layout. Uh, so this is just, I gotta empty the box first. This is an archival box. The foam they're in, ethafoam, is inert. It won't cause any problems with them. And most of the chips are in acrylic holders. But you'll see when I take out the batch from the top shelf here, uh, there are a couple right here that they are not. So those three are not in the clear protective cases. That's what we were using. Those are gone now. Tossed them out. Not really. Kept them for scraps of foam, but not going to be used anymore. Got to get my tools together here. Uh, Most of this is going to go fairly quick. This isn't a hard project to do. So, square, pencil, ruler. Got to make these fit. I was going to measure the box, but those boxes can be a little finicky to measure because the cardboard is wiggly. Uh, so I'm going to actually use the piece of foam that was the bottom row of chips. I'm going to actually measure it because it fit in the bottom of the box. Uh, I'm using the ruler instead of the square to measure this because the ruler has metric on it, and I find the metric easier to use when I'm adding and subtracting things because it's just straight up numbers. There's no funky fractions going on. Um, so I just tend to do things in the metric system. I find it easier in this case. So just measuring the length and the width, or the width and the depth, I guess, technically, of the foam. And then got to move that stuff out of the way. So this is an archival mat board. This is what we use for backing a lot of uh, paper things that go on display. I'm going to use it here to form the basis of the layers that the chips are going to go on. I'm just measuring out one dimension of it here, and you got to straighten the ruler out so it's not at a funky angle. And really need more room. I'm just gonna draw a straight line off of that. The adjustment I made with the cutting mat is the T square is deeper than the mat board, so the T square was popped up above it. So by using sliding it over, the T square sets flat when the plastic parts off of the cutting mat. So got that line marked out, and then here's the other dimension for the piece I'm going to cut. I am wearing gloves because those three poker chips do not have plastic cases. That's why I'm wearing them. So if I pick them up to handle them, uh, I have gloves on. They don't get oil from my fingers. The knife I'm using is from Olfa. It is actually supposed to be yellow, but because I use some of my own tools at work, all of my personal tools I have, at least in some way, marked them with green paint, just so there's a clear, these ones are mine. They get to go home with me. So now I'm just scoring the and cutting the mat board with this Olfa knife. It goes so quick. It takes about 5 or 6 passes in general to cut through. And this is, I think this might be 8-ply mat board. I think if I remember right, it's 8-ply. So it's pretty good thickness. So it takes a little bit to cut through it. And unfortunately, it will eat up a knife blade, which is why I use one of these with the snap blade. So when that point's dull, I just snap off and get a fresh point for it. I was trying to keep it in frame as much as I could, which is why it's taking me a little longer to cut this because I'm at a weird angle to keep it in the camera. Normally, if you look at that knife, the way it's got that curved metal piece on the end, which is great for opening like paint cans. It also sets really good if you hold it like a pencil between your thumb and your forefinger. That sits really nice in there to give you more leverage and get the cut through. We have a similar knife. It's actually Works knife, but it doesn't have that. It's a different model of Olfa. Yeah, it doesn't have that. I like mine better. So, some Super 77 spray adhesive. I'm going to spray it on that piece of mat board, and that is a thin sheet of ethafoam. Same stuff that the blocks that the chips came out of were. Just this is, I think this sheet it runs about 1/8 of an inch thick. So I'm just putting that over the mat board just as to limit friction with, because the mat board's got a texture to it. So to keep it from rubbing the chips, even though most of them are in cases, it's just padding. Making sure it's sticking. And I'm going to take that off, and I'm spraying that top side of the mat board now, off screen, away from the poker chips. I actually turn completely around and face the other side of the room when I do that, and spray like right in the trash can. So now I don't do it this way for the rest of these pieces because I do a total of 5 of these, I think. Yeah, 5. I don't do it this way with the rest. For the rest of them, I cut out. So once I glue it down, I cut it out and then spray it and glue it the other side down. And I'm just trimming the edges now. That's how I normally hold it because I get more leverage. You can see what I mean, or that curve just it fits so nice on at least on my hand. I don't know about other people's, but for me it works really well. That metal part, like I said, it's good for opening paint cans. It's also good for like scoring big pieces of cardboard. If you just need to get kind of a crease going in a cardboard, you just turn that knife around with the blade in it. The blade retracted, and just run that metal edge, that curved metal back piece along the cardboard. Makes a really good first crease mark. A little more trimming. That's why I didn't do the rest of them like that, because this just took too much uh, to get that both sides trimmed at the same time is just a pain. And test fit. Gotta make sure it goes in. Look at that. It goes in. It goes in really well. I need the knife to pop it out, which is fine. The bottom trays shouldn't need to come out of the box once I'm done. Little fuzzies. That's what I'm picking at. They're the little fuzzy edges on it. Because the pieces I was trimming off were so thin, it was just it fuzzed. I'm looking for the knife handle for my X-Acto knife. That's what I'm doing, lifting things up and looking under them. It had rolled under the edge of what I'm working on, so I had to hunt it down. Trying to get rid of those fuzzies because they're not a big deal, uh, but they bother me, and no one else will notice them, but I will know they're there, so they need to go. Okay, all right, we're good now. What am I doing? Oh, I'm looking for we have a thicker sheets of ethafoam. They're about a quarter inch thick. Um, as you can see, the mat doesn't show as well through them. Uh, so I was just looking for that. So here's how I normally do it, and just put the piece on there and just trace it with the knife. And now I'm testing the layout to see how many of these poker chips can I fit. So there are three different sizes of things here because there's the poker chips in these. These four all have cases with a ring of foam around the edge of the uh, chip. There you can see the three black and in one white circle. Those are all foam inserts. And then if you look to the far left, there's a red chip there that is in a case that does not have a foam insert. The case is the size of the chip. And then we have the three chips that don't have a case. So there are three different sizes of stuff. And what I do is, oh, there's my pencil. It's an 8B pencil. It's a very soft pencil. I also use it for writing on the backs of photos if they got glossy paper. Because I'm not allowed to use a pen. Everything has to be reversible when it involves the objects. So it's a pencil. It's a soft pencil. Uh, I'm just drawing outlines. I can do this because of the cases there. So I'm not doing anything to the chip. All right, circle showed up. So as I was saying, there's three different sizes here, but when I do these 5 layers, so 20, I cut 20 of these circles. I do them all with the chip holder because I am going to uh, get chip holders that are like these ones with the foam inserts for all the chips and just get them all together in one style of holder. So I'm just planning ahead and making sure the circles all fit those chip holders. This is the really exciting part where you get to watch me repeatedly draw a circle over and over again uh, so that I can see it. I've tried this with a regular, yellow school number 2 pencil, and the lead just on a soft surface like the foam is, there's not enough there to really get a nice visible line. Most of the time when I've used them, I end up the point tears the foam a little bit, and that ends up being what I use instead of being able to see a nice circle like that. So now I have to cut out the circle at some point. And I do a combination when I'm cutting the circle. Sometimes I move my hand, and sometimes if I'm just kind of foam like here, I'm just moving. I've got the knife basically with the point stuck into the cutting mat, and I'm just rotating the ethafoam, following the circle with the edge of the blade. Both methods work. I think this one gives me a more circular. I end up with less flat spots in my circles. Test fit? Yeah, looks good. 3 more times for this one. And we're cutting. It's something very relaxing about doing this kind of work. I have cut out the audio that the camera recorded because I have music playing, and well, I don't want copyright and problems with music. So I put my music on, and I just kind of chill out. Got my own room. People leave me alone for the most part. Every once in a while, the boss calls. But yeah, it's very relaxing. It's both creative and kind of analytical. Um, so I like it a lot. This is fun stuff for me. I do this all day. I don't get a chance to do it all day a lot of the time, but when I do get a chance, I really do enjoy doing this kind of stuff. Um, Try not to leave too much dead air here, but I really got nothing to say about cutting foam circles. It's you're witnessing it. This is as exciting as it gets. It is thrilling stuff, let me tell you. So I end up with 20 poker chip sized pieces of foam that are sitting on my desk at work right now because I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Probably just throw them away. But there we go, all 4 fit. And you notice all 4 of those are the foam ones. So now, what's the next step? What did I do next? I think I do. Okay, so this is cotton tape. It's not adhesive. So what this is for is to allow you to pop the chip out of its holding spot without having to fight with it. So I'm just measuring the length of the tape here. And then I'll cut it. And then I will cut 3 more. So basically, it sits in the bottom of the little compartment cut for the chip with a tab of the tape sticking up. And when you want that particular chip, you just grab and give it a little tug, and that tape will pull it up out of the hole, out of the recess for you. Just makes things, it's a convenience thing. It's just easier to get them out. So I'm just measuring off, now that I know how long it needs to be, just 3 more of them, so I can do all 4 at once. And here comes the hot glue gun. Somewhere is the hot glue gun. I swear there's a hot glue gun here. Yeah, that's enough of me test fitting. I know I got it right. Jeez, what am I doing? I'm probably just, oh, I'm waiting for the hot glue gun to heat up. So that's what I'm using. It's 3M's Thermogrip 6363, I think is the number. It's actually an archival hot melt glue. So it won't off gas anything. It's safe to use around objects, but not on objects. So what I'm doing here, I'm just going to put a, you can see I've written content on that one in the marker. But I'm just putting a dab of hot glue on the tape, sticking it to the foam. And you'll see when I do the next step that this is actually the bottom of this piece of foam, or what will be its bottom. Surprisingly enough, when I did this today, I did not burn myself. Usually with hot glue, I manage to at least once burn myself pretty good with it. But today I managed to not. I was thoroughly impressed with myself. I've actually went to the quick care once because I burned myself on hot glue so well. Uh, it was just I wasn't paying attention and it squeezed out on me and just right along my whole finger. It was not a pleasant experience. So there we go. Those four are done. I'm just pulling that fourth one through. Make sure I'm in the camera so you guys can see. So here you see I'm just running that bead across the whole thing because it is a low. I'm using a low temperature. The glue gun is dual temperature, but I'm using it on its lowest setting because I'm dealing with foam. If it's on the hot setting, when I put the glue on the foam, it has a tendency to just pop all the air pockets in the foam from the heat. So I just did one edge just so I could get it down because the low temp does cool pretty quickly and my office is kind of cold usually, so it cools off quicker in my office than it would, out in another room somewhere maybe. And one more run. Just pat it down and leave it, let it cool. I'm using the hot glue because I haven't found anything that works better on this EFA foam. I tried super glue as an experiment with some pieces, and it never bonded. The two pieces just did not bond together. So that is the completed part, and I am retrimming because I've got that top piece on now. So I'm trimming it a little bit to just make it look nice. Enough dinking around. Get on with it already. Test fit. Yay, it fits in. Just gonna grab those four chips and plop them into place. So that yellow card there, you can't read it, but it's just a tracking card. It means one of the chips that is normally located in that box has been pulled out of the box for something. Um, I think that one went on exhibit. I would have to check the card, but it lists the object number and what it is and where it's normally housed and where it got moved to. If I pull an object to work on stuff for more than a day, I will fill one of those out. But if I'm just doing work where I'm going to put it back at the end of the day, then I don't fill one out. So here we are. I've moved on to the second one. I skipped the building part. The only difference is the string you see me pulling on there, that piece of cotton tape, literally just to help you get the tray out of the box. And it also has 4 feet on the bottom to give some distance between the two layers.